Welcome back, Keepers, to another episode of Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral. I'm Gabrielle Dolan.
And I'm Jazz Hands.
Jazz Hands. Jac's doing Jazz Hands because this episode is called Your Future, Your Hands.
The future is in your hands.
It's in your hands. It's in your jazz hands.
Yeah. If you want to shape the future, create it.
Strap yourself in for Keeping It Real with Jac Ral.
I know that can sound like a bit cliche. People sort of go, well, if you want your own future, create it.
Destiny.
But you do have to plan for it. People
you don't want to be passive about your future, right?
And we often, I often have people say to me, and I'm sure you're the same, where people go, oh, God, you look like you've got the best life. You're my inspiration.
Lucky.
It was like, yeah, well, that didn't happen by chance.
Why didn't it happen by chance?
Because
what did you do, Ral?
Well, I planned it.
Okay.
I planned it. So
how did you plan
where
it?
do you want me to start?
Well, first of all, let's just unpack your future, your hands. So this episode is very much about taking responsibility for your future.
Yep.
Because we both know lots of people and talk to lots of people and have got our own experience of don't wait for others to plan your future or don't expect others are going to take you where you want to go.
Yeah.
And I say that even in relationships, actually, especially in relationships.
Okay.
Because I can tell you now, there was a man that never wanted to live in the country and certainly didn't want to own a whole heap of horses, who thankfully came along on my journey, but I think has recognised the value and benefit in that and is really happy.
He's realised you were right all along.
I mean, really, as if you'd even question that, but still, there you are.
Yeah.
So let's talk about an example of how you have created your future.
Yeah.
Now, you've done this, not unlike myself, both from a career perspective as well as from a lifestyle perspective.
Definitely.
Let's start with lifestyle for you.
And we should say, sometimes life will throw a major curveball.
Not sometimes, all the time.
That puts your best laid plans and it doesn't happen. So, acknowledging that can happen.
That doesn't mean to say you can't be flexible or go again or change.
Yeah.
So don't give up, I suppose, is the key there. But all right, let's talk about your experience.
So, look, I could go way back to when I was like 20. Way back. But you know what? I always knew I wanted to be financially independent as a woman.
I can't imagine anyone who doesn't want to be financially independent.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that still think a man is a financial plan. That is so ageist. Like some people still do, and I definitely see some.
That's really sad.
Younger,
very, very
women
sad.
that still sort of think that. Anyway, if I have the opportunity, I slap that out of them.
Absolutely.
But I knew I wanted to be financially independent. So that was things like, saving. I had investment properties when I was really young. Granted, that's probably pretty hard these days for kids.
There's other investments.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was doing that. But when I think about the lifestyle we have now with our farm at Bermagui or our property at Bermagui, that was I knew
intentional.
It was intentional. And I had it in my head, I reckon, a good 5 or 6 years that I wanted to have a holiday home, and it was there, and it took a while, but that's what happened.
Okay, so you had a vision.
Yes, I had a vision, I guess you'd call it.
Okay,
it probably wasn't a plan at that point.
No, it was a vision.
Evolved into a plan.
That's okay.
Yeah,
but let's start there. So it was a vision. What was it about a holiday place that was important to you? Why? Why did you want that?
I wanted to create a space where we went away and had quality time with the kids. I also wanted to create, and this is a very long-term space, that as the kids got older, they would be bringing their partners and friends and, eventually kids or whatever. And I wanted to create that space. And the property we ended up buying, we joint with another couple, with Bruce and Wendy, and they had the same goal.
Yeah.
And it was interesting this year at New Year's Eve, we had
how long have you had the place?
We've had it for 16 years now. So we started going when the kids were pretty young. This New Year's Eve, there was 17 people up at New Year's Eve. All the kids were there. Their partners, their friends. We were playing games, and they stayed for a week. Some stayed for 2 weeks. And when eventually everyone peeled off, and it was just the four of us, I remember one night we were sitting there going, This is exactly why we bought this place. For
So
what the
it's about
last 2 weeks
connection.
has been like.
It's been about connection. Your why was long-term plan, long-term vision of a meeting place and a connection place for family and friends.
And that was a strong why. And I mean,
Great why.
You know, of course, there's other benefits now. Now I can, you know, the whole work from anywhere.
That's right.
I can work from there, and you know, a lot of the time it's just Steve and I going up.
Beautiful.
So there's so many benefits, but there was, to me, it was a very, very strong why.
When you had this vision and you shared it with Steve, what was his response? Because this was initially your vision, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Perhaps I just told him.
Steve, I know what's best. We're
Well,
going to get the
I
property.
actually can't. I mean, I'm sure he went along with it.
Clearly did.
And you know what? Out of the 4 of us that own that property, he spends the most time there. And he'll often go up by him, especially if I'm travelling for work or whatever.
Yep.
He'll just go up by himself.
He's always doing things.
I think he was in on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
I certainly can't recall any resistance.
So the desire, or sorry, the outcome was you bought it with another couple, which is bloody smart. Was that because of affordability, or was that because you actually both wanted the same thing and it just happened to be that you found a place?
We had holidayed every year. We holidayed together.
Okay, you knew them well.
Up along the coast. So we holidayed. I think it was about 5 or 6 years in a row.
Yeah.
You know, we had the same parenting technique, which I think is very, very important when you holiday with couples.
Yeah, with children.
With family, that you're both the same parenting technique. And so and it was at Bermagui. I think we'd had 2 years at Bermagui.
Nice.
And on the last night, we actually saw a block of land for $60,000 up there. And we go, we should just buy that. Like between us, it's $30,000. It's nothing. And anyway, eventually, so we sort of decided we should buy a place, and we didn't buy that block of land, but 6 months later we had bought, 9 months later we had bought this property we're in now.
Yeah.
And yes, it is a lot more affordable when you're splitting everything in half. And not only affordable, but it's 25 acres, and Bruce looks after the garden,
Sure,
and
you've all
Steve's
got
a handyman, and I look after the
areas.
veggie garden, and Wendy's a chief finance officer, we call her. So she buys all the stuff for the house.
so cool.
So we all have our own little
Roles.
areas of enjoyment
roles.
at the property.
So once you realised what you were doing, did you then set in place a plan? So this episode's Your Future, Your Hands Keepers, where we talk about taking responsibility for your future, whether it be your career, whether it be your lifestyle, well, ideally everything actually. So how did you then plan out, okay, we want to go and have a holiday place, we want it for the long term. Were there conditions you put around that, Ral, like budget, place, distance?
You know what? We put a condition around distance, and so a
Okay.
lot of people say, "God, why did you get a property that's like
So
an
far
8-hour
away."
drive?" And it was like, because we wanted it to be an 8-hour drive, and like, I'm going, why didn't you just go down the coast? You could 2 hours, and I was like, yeah, nah. And the catalyst was because when we bought that property, that's when I introduced my other, Your Future, Your Hands, Life by Design, not working school holidays. Because we were going up there school holidays, so 12 weeks a year, and because it was an 8-hour drive, if it's not a case of, I'll just pop down to Melbourne or, it's 6 hours to Sydney to do a workshop, it was just like, no. It kept me really strong.
So boundaries were set.
Yeah, and it
because
really
of
helped
this
keep my
plan.
boundaries. Now, occasionally I might fly and do some workshops, but that's very occasionally. I could count on my hand the amount of times I've done that in 16 years. So it then became the catalyst for really maintaining my work-life balance.
How good.
And then when COVID hit and everything went online, my God, we spent so much time up there. And now most, 40% of my clients still want to do virtual training.
So you do it from Bermagui.
I look and go, I've got a virtual workshop, but I've got a workshop next week, but it's virtual. Let's go to Bermagui.
Yeah.
And, I've got a vegetable garden to maintain.
Listen to you,
I have to get up there and bloody,
You'll have a pony soon. So, Your Future, Your Hands, you had the vision. You then went and put that vision into action, bought the place, and away you go. What you're saying to me is, even though you might not have necessarily considered it at the time, being able to work from there, it being really great for your boundary setting and your mental health and well-being, I think the whole catalyst for it was about connection and it not being close to Melbourne. So it was really a place that you went and did something very different.
Yeah.
So that catalyst.
And also too, just on that, we didn't want it to be like a suburban house. No. This is 25 acres.
It has to be
the
very
campfire, you know, the amount of times you just at night you're sitting and all the kids are there just sitting around a campfire, which of course you're talking.
Yep. Of course you are. You're talking. It's wonderful. And again, you're coming back to exactly why you did it in the first place, which was connection.
You had a similar, I know, with your farm. You've been speaking about the farm for a long time before it happened. So what was the process you put in place?
So both kids had horses. We love the horses. And I kept saying to Richard, I'm from the country upbringing. I love the country. I do a lot of corporate work. I'm in cities all over the world. I really would like to unwind and have a place in the country. And at the time we were thinking, unlike yours, ours had to be we had real conditions, had to be within an hour of Melbourne, had to be north, up near the airport because I'd be still working.
Nice, yeah.
And enough room for our horses, but not so big that we couldn't manage it because we hadn't owned a large property before. And it wasn't initially, in Richard's mind, going to be our full-time residence. The idea was it would be somewhere I might go 2 or 3 nights a week.
Right.
He'd come up on weekends. The kids would sort of go backwards and forwards. Well, it took us 4 years to find the place given those conditions we put around it. And we had a small budget too, I might add. The day we bought it was the day COVID hit. So when we settled 2 months.
Like freaky, isn't it?
It was very freaky.
Perfect timing.
It settled 2 months later or 3 months later. And so we moved there. Because there were so many restrictions and we need to renovate and get set up and get the horses in, and kids came straight up with us. They were still living at home. And so the rest is history because we never left.
Right.
And it was the best thing we ever did because it's only an hour from Melbourne. I do all my work from there. But the reason for it was very much an escape. It was a total reset for me that was the opposite of my normal day-to-day life.
And do you think that you really wanted that because you did work in corporate and you said, I want something different?
I did. I also knew in the back of my mind that corporate had a limitation in which I wouldn't be in corporate forever.
Yeah.
I was coming to the sort of later stages of my career. And so it would also help force me to think about what else I would do.
Yeah.
And the idea of being able to work from the farm really excited me, and that certainly was the catalyst for the career change as well, even though I had been thinking about that for a while.
Yeah, you had.
But I think for the purpose of this episode and for helping our keepers, which is why we have these conversations, your future is in your hands. You can shape it, you can control it, but you do need to take responsibility for it.
Yep.
And whilst we both had some conditions around what we wanted, one of the things I coach on when I'm talking to people about, you know, your best self or your best perfect day or your perfect future is be careful about your conditions you put on things. So an example of that was one person I was talking to, and we were talking about careers, but the environment and place from which they would do that. And she said to me, I want to live on the beach, but I could not afford it.
Right.
And I said, that's a shame you're being so inflexible.
Exactly. I assume she lives in Australia?
Yeah.
There's a shitload of beaches to choose from.
Absolutely. But the other thing is, no, you might not be able to afford to live there permanently or own there. You can rent there.
Yes.
Or you can visit there enough or Airbnb there. Don't rule it out.
Or you know what? I can't afford it now.
Correct. Because otherwise you really don't want that. And you're setting up excuses, or as one of our former podcast episodes, the stories we tell ourselves, what we can and can't have. So if you want to plan your future, or if you want to create your future, then you should plan it. So one of the things I thought we could go through is what is the process for sort of how to start, you know, who do you need to help you? Why is it important? What's exciting? What's scary? What's the next step you should take? And what are some of the things to get you going?
Yeah, yeah. And I also think the two examples we've talked about with our, you know, respective farms and lifestyle is long-term future.
Correct.
But you know, the future could also be, what do you want this year to be like?
Yes.
What do you want this decade to be like?
That.
What do you want retirement in inverted commas
That's exactly
to look
right.
like? So
1, 5, 10-year ideas.
Absolutely.
Like it. All right. So when you decided to work for yourself, when you decided to buy
that was 21 years ago.
Stop it. I can't believe you said 16 years was Bermagui. I honestly thought that was 10 years ago.
No, it was 2010.
And 21 years ago.
So 21 years ago, almost to the week, I left my corporate job to teach people storytelling.
Amazing. And that was a risk.
It was a massive risk.
But
people go storytelling. What the
yeah, well, back then no one knew about it. Exactly right. So your future that was in your hands 21 years ago, what was the process for leaving corporate life and doing that? I mean, as in, I know you've discussed it before, but I want to hear something different about aligning to your future, your hands. How did you start? What did you do? Did you write it down? Did you say, I'm going to give this a crack for 12 months? What was the process?
You know what? I didn't write anything down because I think it was flying by the seat of my pants.
Good on you for being honest.
But the reality was I had an idea around this storytelling business that's a skill, but there was a retrenchment. I've shared
so you had a buffer.
I've shared the story on this podcast before. I went for a job and I didn't get it.
Yeah.
If I had got the job,
you
I might have stayed,
yes.
right? So I didn't get it. And there was a, retrenchment package, very, good financial. I had a buffer. I had a financial buffer. And Steve was still working, so had a financial buffer. But the kids were 2 and 5.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I thought I will give this a go. And if it doesn't work out, I will just come back and get another job. So I don't think at that stage I was thinking in 20 years I want to be working from home. I want to be running my own business. I want to have all this flexibility. I don't think I was thinking of that at all.
Something was a catalyst for you making that change.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking? What did you hope for?
Seriously, I just thought storytelling's a skill and I think people need to get better at it. And I think I'm the person who can do it and I'll just give it a crack.
Okay. Did you think this could be quite exciting? Because I don't know a lot of – I don't know what I'm going to encounter.
I certainly knew what I bloody didn't. I certainly knew I'd never run a business before. I'd never taught storytelling before.
So it was exciting.
It was exciting.
And a bit scary.
It was exciting and a bit scary and, yes, a bit of a risk.
Okay. But you thought, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. And to me, the worst that can happen, it doesn't work out, and you'll just go get another job.
Go back to corporate life. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you are thinking, I want to take control of my future, I like what Jac and Ral are talking about, I might want my own property outside of Melbourne or Sydney or wherever, or I might want a different career or whatever it is, the first thing you should do is what?
Well, I think the first thing you should do is maybe write it. I think tell people.
Write it down or tell people. I agree.
Both. Just be very clear on this is what it is.
You don't have to tell everyone. Maybe it's just significant
tell your partner.
That's
whatever.
right. But this is what I want to achieve. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to write it down because I reckon I can make this happen.
Yeah.
Have some optimism and positivity and confidence that you can create your future.
Yeah.
That is where you have to start.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, then you're wasting your time and hours. Yeah. And I do this with my coaching clients when we're talking about transition. Yeah. So have an idea of what – now, some say to me, I don't know what I want. And I say, well, if you did know what you want, what do you think it would be?
Yeah.
Most of us have a bit of an idea of what we want, but we're too scared to admit it or say it in case we don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not going to admit it or say it, you're never going to get it.
And people talk about the vision board and stuff. You know, when a lot of people come to me about, because I want to write a book.
Yep.
And the first thing I get them to do is go, so what's the working title? And I get them to go, just create a mock cover.
Lovely.
And that's your mock cover, and print that out and have that somewhere.
That's lovely. So that's your inspiration.
Yeah.
That's what's going to keep you going. Okay. So have an idea of what your future looks like. And if you don't know what your future looks like, then start to think about what you would like it to look like so that you have something, and then talk to somebody about it, whether it be your children, your partner, your best friend, your mother, whatever, your dog, but talk to somebody about it, and then preferably write it down so that you've actually got something to go back to. Start there. I like what you said about the 1 year, 5 year, 10 year thing.
Yeah.
So when I'm working with clients, I say, and depending on where they're at, what it is they want to change and how quickly they need that change, we talk about a tenure. I say put a tenure on it, yeah?
Yeah, okay.
A tenure is as in not 10 years, TENURE. Put a time frame. I put 5 years on ours, and within 4 it had happened.
Right.
With the career piece, I'd put a tenure on it, as in 10, and it actually happened within about 3.
Right, okay.
Which was
and I'd
fabulous.
imagine, like even with that property, if you put a 5 year and it took you 6, you'd still
pretty
would have
happy,
done it. Yeah,
pretty
still would have.
happy.
But I
Exactly
think I think they'll like the idea of putting like an ideal deadline. I want it to happen for this. Otherwise, you probably not keeping yourself accountable
Correct.
to it as well.
So now that you've done that, I think the next thing you should do as part of the process is say, well, why do I want this?
Yeah.
Why does it matter to me? And there is no wrong answer here.
No.
To be honest with yourself, I want this because I believe when I'm on the coast at the beach, I'm my best self.
Yeah. And that's when I think back about the property. It's like, why do we want this? We want to create a place that in 20 years' time our kids still want to come and visit us.
Absolutely beautiful. So write down why you want this.
Yeah.
Why do you want to change your career if that's what this transition is about?
Yeah.
Is it because you want better flexibility? Is it because you want more certainty? Oh, but just because I'm self-employed doesn't mean I'll be certain. Well, you're not going to be certain being employed either by somebody else because it can end tomorrow. So there is no certainty, but you can shape what you need to shape.
Yep.
So your why is really, really important. Then I think what's next is, what is it that excites you the most about the why and this particular vision or plan for the future, whether it be career, lifestyle, or both? What is it that's exciting? List those things out. Now, for you, it's the drive. You love the drive.
Yeah, I do
you
love
get a
the
lot of
drive.
work done during the drive. I know I talk to you a lot while you're driving.
Last drive, I'm sending you the
Oh,
emails.
you were like a bloody raccoon on meth. I loved it. I was bloody getting stuff left, right, and centre. You love it because it's 25 acres and not this city life that you have normally.
Yeah,
you love it because so many
property.
people can come and you can share the experience. You love it because you're right near the beach. You love it because you got the kangaroos and the magpies and you can work from there. There's a whole lot of reasons to love what it is. So what is it that's exciting about what you want to do with your future? Equally, what the hell frightens you?
Yeah.
What was scary for you about either?
It's a really good question. What's scary? Yeah, no. You know what? There was nothing really scary about me. About me.
There's a lot scary about you, love.
The amount of people that said to us, because we bought it with another couple, you're mad to do that.
Yeah, well, that's an
and
unusual
they go,
thing.
oh, you're going to end up hating each other. I was like, and it was like, that is, I guess it's a potential risk. You're going into a lifelong, well, not lifelong, you're investing in property, you can always sell it. I didn't think it was an issue, but the amount of people that did think it was an issue.
I can imagine.
But we had road tested the relationship, and when I say the family relationship of holidaying together.
Do you have caveats? Like, was there an agreement written up or something?
No.
No?
Oh, you know what there was? It was with the kids. That if one of the adults tells you to do something, you do it.
Oh, I love that.
So it was like we said to them, you have now got four parents.
You lucky buggers.
So just be aware of that. And our commitment was too that we would stay true to each other's. Like if one of us told a kid to do that when we weren't. Yeah, just like you do with your partner.
So you'd stick to
together.
boundaries.
But
so
and even people go, oh, do you take it in turns? And we're like, no, it's so much more fun when we're there together.
That's exactly right. So the unknown or the scary part was what?
Well, I guess buying property with another couple has
unknown
as an unknown.
Yep, for the first time you had done that.
Yeah.
But again,
but it wasn't. It's like
what is the worst that can happen?
The worst that can happen is you just bloody sell it.
Well, that's right. You've got out. So I guess
we already said no. Like none of us can get divorced.
No.
I was like,
gee, that's scary.
We can't get divorced because that's what we can't have random new people in our house.
That's right. You don't want to be halving this. No, exactly right. When we bought the farm, what was scary? We hadn't farmed before.
Yeah, I know. And yours is a big farm.
That's a big farm. So we hadn't farmed before, but we flipped that scare factor or that barrier to we're going to learn a lot.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of people around us that will help and give us advice. Mm-hmm. We can also outsource certain things or seek, which we do indeed, and we can learn a lot. Yeah. So it's understanding what the barriers and looking at those, leaning into those as you plan this future, career or lifestyle or both, and write them out. Don't be afraid to, and there might be some you don't think of, but that's fine. But the point is have the confidence that you can address them.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, it's like, whatever could go wrong or the scary thing, what's exciting about it and why it's important far outweighs.
Yeah, far outweighs.
That could happen.
So working with somebody at the moment, moving into a portfolio career and said to me, long time, very successful corporate career, has amazing skills, this particular executive, and said to me the usual, what if I can't get enough work? I'm the key breadwinner. I'm about to go into a portfolio career.
Which is a genuine
I'll be
concern,
self-employed.
isn't it?
I've never been self-employed before. What if I can't get the work? I said, let's explore that. What if you can't? That's a fair thing.
That's a reality.
I said, so what would you do? She said, well, I'd have to go and get other work. I said, well, do you think you could? She goes, yep. I said, okay, so we've addressed that. I said, have you guessed what I found when I went and worked for myself? Because I'm so excited about doing this and I don't want to fail, I made sure that I got work.
Yeah.
I was so flexible. I had great mentors, EGU, people who had done this before. I was thinking about the partnerships I could have. It's amazing how creative you are. I mean, what do they say? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yep.
So for anyone thinking about a shift in career or a transition from being employed by somebody else to being self-employed, it's worth giving it a crack because, trust me, you might surprise yourself at how well you can get work for yourself.
Yeah.
And if you can't, I guarantee you'll be employed by somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's an important thing to think through.
And, we've talked about a lot of big things like this, and we even often – your fitness, like, I've spoken before previously and you've talked about Pilates because we don't want to have falls and our running and going, I've talked about being really strong when I'm 60. It's like your future, your hands is I want my years of 70 to 80, 80 to 90, 90 to 100 to be that I'm still active.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Will I be as active? Maybe not, but I still want them to be good active years. Well, that's my future.
Well, it is. So what are you doing about that?
I'm not going to start working on that when I'm 90.
No,
I'm working on it now.
Bit late. Well, speaking of that, Richard Phillips has started running. And
he's also started. That almost surprises me more than when you started running.
It surprises me way more because he's never been an exerciser.
Why? So what is his
because he is recognising that as he gets older, that his future is in his hands and that there's no guarantee he's going to be strong, fit, active or live for a long time. And there's lots he still wants to do.
Right.
So he has had – and he's got a lot of influence around him. There's a son that runs and a daughter that runs.
Yep.
And we're getting great inspiration and support from both of them. They're also holding us accountable.
Yeah, you were saying that, in the family chat, they share their VO2 max scores.
We're all bloody looking at our VO2
you
max.
nerdy runners.
I know. What's wrong with us? But it is our responsibility, and it is a responsibility of every keeper listening. Do not outsource that responsibility to somebody else. So we've spoken about your future. It's in your hands. Shape it, control it, plan it. Don't put all these conditions around it that are impossible, and also try and look at things optimistically. How do you start? You write it down, you tell somebody.
Yep.
Okay. What do you need to start? Well, you need to actually have some sort of vision around what it is you want and why. What's the why? And then put some timings around it. Is it a 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, or is it all three? Who do you need to help you? Who's on the journey with you? If it's not somebody who's on the journey with you, who do you need to go and speak to about? Do you need a coach? Do you need an accountability partner?
Yeah.
Why is it important?
Yeah.
That's
I know
really
with my, fit at strong at 60, I thought, doing strength's always been important to me. And I was like, if I'm really serious about this, I've got a personal trainer. Get help.
And use that person.
Yeah.
Love it. Go to a gym.
Yeah.
Why is it exciting, and what are the things that excite you? What is scary, and what are the barriers that might stop you? Write those down. What is the first next step to take? And that is to write it down, tell somebody, and then think about, what do I need to do right now? So I talk to people who are in careers currently that want to transition to portfolio careers. What can you be doing while you're in this job, employed by that person, to help you make that next step?
Yeah, you don't have to make the big, massive, scary jump
straight away. That's right.
Yeah.
One of my clients said to me, I think I need to think about a redundancy. I said, what a great idea. So how do you influence that redundancy? So she's already looking at how this job or this place can operate without her. So she's setting up that place in such a way that it benefits the shareholders, it benefits the organisation to operate without her in a key role. And how can she then navigate a redundancy that gives her the buffer to then go out and start on her own, because she's got that financial backing. And then I think what's really important, Ral, is mapping your progress. So somebody said to me, once I wrote it down, Jac, once I started working toward it, so I've been coaching this person for a few years now, I look back and realise I've done so much. I've actually started to achieve this. Things are underway. And the next part is actually going to get really easy. So you think about your progress. You just said 21 years of working for yourself, 16 years of being in Bermagui. Look at how far you've come.
3 months I could chest press 30 kilos. Now I can do 40. Look out, Arnie.
Look out at the Olympics. You're going to be in there. The Keeping It Real Olympics with Raul Dolan.
Oh, that's a little event we could run.
We could run what?
Keeping It Real Olympics.
Oh, would you stop? Not like the enhanced games. No. A few little peptides along the way.
Absolutely.
Whatever.
Okay, well, I think now it's over to our keepers because it's your future, your hands. It's not our hands.
Not our hands. Not our responsibility.
Hands, not our responsibility.
Not our circus, not our monkeys.
We are all care, no responsibility here.
We're not even a bit of care some days.
So your future, your hands. Hopefully you found that of value. Take responsibility
for your future. Shape it, control it,
because it is in your hands. So as usual, if you like this episode, share it, rate 5-star rating, and we will speak to you next week. Next week is our 100th episode.
Who knew that our future is in our hands and that we would get to 100 episodes? Keehlan's still with us.
Keehlan's still with us. Diggy's still with us.
Diggy's still here.
100 episodes.
Raul's strength training. I'm running and doing Pilates.
God knows. Yeah. God's what's happened to us.
Up.
All right, keepers. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to another episode of Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral. If you like what you've heard, don't forget to tell others about it and give a 5-star review. They may seem confident, but they really are sensitive 5-star needy souls. Yeah, right. Keeping It Real, created by Jack Phillips and Gabriel Dolan. Produced by Keehlan Ferrari-Brown. And this really real voiceover, spoken by Richard Phillips.